Well, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. My name is Jared. I am your host. Just put up a new piece of content. Shout out Eric's for All is where I sourced the video demonstrating what I was trying to explain here recently is that the impact of a rifle round on a human body at a couple hundred meters is not what we saw when the Charlie Kirk got killed. Again, I just want to keep saying, and I want to make sure that, I'm one of those people when I know I'm right, I'm going to keep telling you. Charlie Kirk was not killed by Tyler Robinson. Um, Here's what I really believe. A lot of people want to know, like, what do you really think happened? I think that he was going to do it. I think that Tyler Robinson planned to unalive Charlie Kirk. I think that it is within the realm of possibility that um, a Groiper kid planned to unalive Charlie Kirk. Did he pull the trigger? No. There was no Mauser style round fired on the day of Charlie Kirk's shooting. Why? I posted a video this morning that you cannot miss. I posted it in our Discord. I posted it in the comment on TikTok of the post that I shared this morning where you can just go watch. That's what happens when you shoot a 30-06 at someone's fucking head. It'd blow your head off. Okay? Charlie Kirk would have had a fucking closed casket. Let's just say it like that. And what's funny about that, Jared, is that his casket was closed. But um, good morning, everybody. By the way, Gabby, Stacy, Angie, Debs. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, Charlie Kirk was not killed. And you could see it as plain as day if you go to my yeah. If you go to my piece on TikTok and look at the first comment, I shouted out Eric's for All, the guy that posted the video where he's like, you guys have seen what a 30-06 would do to the human head, right? Here's the video, and it's so graphic that he had to blur out the what happens to the human head because even though that was a gelatin skull, uh, it's meant to mimic the human brain. What would have happened to Charlie Kirk's head is so graphic, um, and that's not what happened at all. Okay, so what I want to make sure that we continue to say is, as I've said, there's clear video of someone from Charlie Kirk's right um, shooting him. hmm And again, George Zinn copped to the murder immediately. Said I killed Charlie Kirk so that the shooter could get away. Now, what is overarching about all of this is that I watched a video yesterday. I follow like a pro-Ukrainian Russian account. I try to get like one man, one woman that I see that are like truth tellers that are doing it in with their own accent and their own language, right? And I'll share that video too, where the guy says, "Hey, when you read these text messages from Tyler to his SO, they don't pass unless you translate them back into fucking Russian, and then it makes sense." And you're like, so you remember where the man with the dead hand, where the president of the United States went to Alaska and met with Putin and rode in the car, and there's someone in that car. I can't remember if it was Pam Bondi or Caroline Levitt, but when they got out of the car, they looked like a fucking ghost. I think that's when that letter was transmitted. I think there was a plot and a plan to unalive Charlie Kirk, and this is who they were going to use to make it happen. And I think the kid chickened the fuck out. And I think anyone could have pulled the trigger on Charlie Kirk. Could have been anyone, even the guy that admitted it, who they let go. Um, and so what I think happened is somebody foiled their plot. I think he chickened out, and somebody did it anyway. Hmm. Okay, and it's almost like they knew they were being ordered to take out their own. Um, but understand that this is totally what Russia does. Um, Russia will have the talking heads in the right wing start to get gunned down, and they'll try to frame it on the left over and over and over again until it's correct, until somebody does snap on the left. And think about it, it never's happened. It's never happened. But be careful. There are a lot of opportunists out there, a lot of provocateurs, a lot of young people are caught up in this in a real bad way. There are a lot of young people that are caught up in this. What could very well turn into a blood feud between the Kirks and the Fuentes acolytes. Um, so yeah, that was what my content was today. I was like, hey, it's more evident to me now more than ever when you can see this is what happens when you shoot 30-06 at a human head. Oh okay, oh okay, that shit would have nearly been blown off his body. The body would have been thrown around like a fucking rag doll, and it wasn't. And again, one of the pervasive thoughts I have in the wake of his death is someone said as he's dying, that last after he said the horrible thing and then took the round, as he's leaning over to the left, I swear to God on my mom, he looks back at his right, like, oh, fuck. Um, also, so notice he didn't look up from where the round came from because his head would have been blown off his fucking body. We gotta stop pretending. Like, Tyler Robinson is a wannabe. Yeah. And obviously, look at all it. The thing about it is what's sad is that your words have meaning. Your words have weight. Brian Kilmeade has blood on his hands, saying that they should euthanize fucking homeless people, and within a week they're gunning down people in homeless camps. Um, I'm really concerned for the fallout from the Fuentes hype. Is what I'm concerned about. Is this kid uh, collecting bodies and saying my people will take you out? Um, I don't think he has any, and I think he's just a fucking coward and a talking head, living with his fucking mom. Got a bunch of people out here, fucking pretending to be warriors and shit, and they're not. And what's crazy about this situation is I think that shit got intercepted by the right, by the feds. The feds knew it was going to go down, and they wanted to make sure it happened because then it continues a cycle of violence. It makes all these fucking lynchings and mass shootings. It gives them a reason that they happened. Is, oh, the left killed Charlie Kirk, right? But I want to continue to point out that your proximity to people that you would think are leftists does not make you left. It's not how that works. There's no way to pass blame here. There's no way Tyler Robinson gets the death penalty and gets convicted in a court of law. It would fall the fuck apart. I want to make sure that we say that too. And I think he's a victim. I mean, obviously he was part of the plot, uh, but he chickened the fuck out. Because if he'd actually done it, he wouldn't have been able to egress that cleanly. I'm telling you, he'd have been shaking like a fucking leaf. I'm not saying that from experience. I'm saying like you're not committing that heinous act of violence and climbing off of a fucking roof moments later. You might have laid up there and I thought you was gonna do something and chicken the fuck out, and then you got off that roof. I'll buy that. But you're asking too much out of a 22-year-old, which is fucking crazy. Because a lot of times the kids that are hitting those shots and making that egress are snipers in the military, but not a 22-year-old kid. I asked the question in the wake of the shooting: what fucking person's shooting a 6-inch fucking uh, grouping at 250 meters with a Mauser rifle? Like, who the fuck is doing that? No one, because his head would have been knocked the fuck off his body, and we wouldn't been talking about how creepy is it that her head is on his hands and shit. You know what I mean? That would have been a closed casket fucking funeral. Okay. And I'm making sure I hammer it the fuck home. There's not a part of me that believes that. Okay? Which is where you want to be. That's where I want to be. I want to be in the spot where I'm like, there's no shred of evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Not a fucking blink of an eye of evidence. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The tissue damage, just the damage to the head and neck area, there's no way to get around it. There, you can't out body physics. You know what I'm saying? You're what you are capable as we listen to War. Shit, this is in my own backyard. You gotta get me off the main page of Reddit. I can't focus. All right, so Putin's gonna die. So now you're about to find out who's about to succeed Putin in Russia. I feel ya. Crazy time to be alive. Trump's gonna get a bunch of people in Taiwan killed. Decline the approval of military aid package to Taiwan. Hey, a 13-year-old boy has become the first person to be cured of a deadly brain cancer. Nice. Remodeling the crime scene, yeah. Hopefully they show you what I mean, when I'll put, let me tell you this story. When I came home from the Marine Corps, okay, my brother had bought a piece of property. Okay, it's where he built his first house. Okay, and his property, the house backed up into a hill, and behind his house was you go up to the top of a hill, and there's a big valley behind his house, and the coyotes were pervasive over the hill, and they would come over the top of the hill like they're in his backyard. And when I came home, my brother and I spent a 3 day weekend trapping and hunting coyotes. Okay, uh, you could sell their pelts. Okay, when you shoot a coyote with a 30-06 or the 223, you're separating the head from the body. Mhm. You generally throw the head away. Just and that's a basically a dog. Hmm. So a human neck, not that much bigger than like a coyote. Bigger, but not that much bigger. Hmm. Yep. Why would they need to remodel? Because they're gonna try to jam. Uh, he was shot by a Mauser from 250, and that's it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. When you hit a deer with a full grown 300 pound fucking buck with a 30-06 or big rifle round, it just goes the fuck down. There's a lot of tissue loss, a lot of blood loss, and the thing dies right away. Hmm? They don't even run very far. Hmm? So to think like Charlie Kirk got shot in the fucking neck and nothing fuck you didn't see shit. Can't make dog on me with that. And they raise one of the reasons we did it. They raised the what they paid for a pelt. Okay. So Canada and Mexico are deepening their ties in the face of Trump's turbulent second term here. Good, good, good. The U.S. ambassador in Canada is surprised at um, anti-American sentiment coming from Canadians. Are you really? I forgot to post that. We'll share. Yeah, I mean, good on them. And not to repeat what I'm saying in my content, but it's also a big tell. What's a big tell is Erica Kirk's ability to get over the loss of her husband so quickly. Donald Trump's ability to get over the loss of Charlie Kirk so quickly. It's because they knew it was coming. And remember, Donald Trump owned the Miss USA pageant when Erica Kirk won in 2012. He groomed her. She was much older than Charlie Kirk. She's getting a fucking PhD. She's much smarter than him. She's meant to be the new. I mean, obviously she's the new CEO of Turning Point USA, but I mean she's meant to be in that position. It was going to happen. Hmm. Yeah, I think they've known for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big life insurance policy involved. Hmm. Here you go. So remember how we've been saying the whole time you gotta stop Russia because if they succeed in Ukraine, they're gonna keep fucking going. Here's Russia saying marriage is nothing but a business transaction. Yeah. God, can you imagine laying under that gumming ass motherfucker twice, at least twice? They had two kids. They had sex at least twice, consensually. But yeah, and when I make my content from now on to reduce the impact of artificial intelligence that it has on content, I'm going to use my man Darian on Twitter. He calls Donald Trump the man with the dead hand. And also, I'm going to call Charlie Kirk the former Turning Point CEO instead of saying their fucking names. Have the life you deserve. Yeah, yeah. She said, I don't care to you. Yeah. Yeah, he was the one telling Taylor Swift that it's over. Submit to your husband. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. God, it's like having an idiot in charge. Trump admin has been quietly pushing to retake an Afghan base from the Taliban for months. Jesus Christ. Let's go. Frontline report. Ukrainian forces decimate Russian offensive capabilities in Pavrovsk. Let's go. Such a terrible situation. I cannot imagine being a Russian soldier. They're sending Russian soldiers through empty gas pipes to evade drones. So Ukrainians are just flooding the pipes and lining them with barbed wire. Pain in the neck, CEO. That's funny. Hungary, following Trump, will designate Tifa a terrorist organization. I want to make sure that we talk about this because there's going to be people out there that are going to say it wrong. Okay? An executive order is not law, it's more like a memo. And saying shit like Antifa is a terrorist organization, I want to continue to use his words. The man with the dead hand said, uh, major terrorist organization. There is no such designation. There isn't a minor terrorist organization. There sure as fuck is not a major terrorist organization. Also, in the U.S. Penal Code, meaning like how we decide if you committed a fucking crime or not, terrorist organizations are foreign based. They're not stateside. You wouldn't name a stateside organization a terrorist organization because then well you'd have to call the KKK a terrorist organization, and then who would be a police officer? Do you see why we don't call organizations terrorist organizations? Because then we could call the NRA, Heritage Foundation, Turning Point. We could call all those things terrorist organizations if you want to really get down to it, right? Do you see how it's a slippery slope? And we don't. That's why we don't call American organizations terrorist organizations, because that's a slippery fucking slope. We don't want to do that. Now, do we? So not only is there not space in our penal code, meaning this is how we punish people, there aren't laws for this. Designating someone Antifa is very difficult because there's no clear leadership in Antifa. It is not a structured organization. There aren't chapters. There aren't local presidents. There aren't. It doesn't exist. Okay. uh, for everyone that's watching, that's like, oh my God, is he on the verge of saying Antifa is real? Antifa is a concept. It's a shortening of terms. Anti-fascist. For the record, we were anti-fascist in World War II when we fought the fascists instead of siding with them. Hmm. Yeah. So, no clear leadership, no local leadership, no national or local chapters or even regional chapters of Antifa exist. Uh-huh. Are the friends we made along the way. So, although all my federal fellow anti-fascists, Donald Trump says Vladimir Putin has really let me down. Yep, let him down easy after he told him he was going to kill Charlie Kirk. Ukraine's destroying weapon depots, Russian weapon depots. Yep. Yeah, there was a big earthquake yesterday, 7.8 off of Russia's far east, triggering a tsunami advisory. That's 7.8 is a massive fucking earthquake. Yeah, former head of the FBI, Chris Wray. King Charles voices support for Ukraine during Trump's state dinner. So know that Donald Trump, to his face, got told by foreign leaders that we're supporting Ukraine. Hell yeah. This shit's gonna be over quick. Ukraine could soon deploy 1,000 drones a day. Uh, uh. 22 hours ago. So yesterday, Russian drones attempted to violate NATO airspace again. That was right after our show ended yesterday. Britain's spy chief from MI6 says there is no evidence Putin wants to negotiate with Ukraine. Yeah, right. And so it's important to look and see what is happening in Russia because Donald Trump is following Putin's playbook. So here's why fascism's bad, okay? Because Putin is deliberately pushing his country into economic collapse because he's afraid of their reaction to him. Remember, one of the things that if I haven't said it before, I mean to say it. Your low wages are a form of keeping you defenseless. One of the things that this country does not want everyone to be able to do is defend themselves. There's a reason, again, if all things were equal, I would be anti gun. 99.9% of the people that have them shouldn't, and most of the people that should have them don't. Namely, the victims. Okay? But I don't live in a world where all things are equal. They're not. People that don't look like me are in a lot more danger than I am. And so, not only am I and if you've been a fan of the show, you've watched me change over time where I was anti-gun. It is not the way. But dying on your fucking is it dying on your shield? Dying on your shield's not an option. So you gotta protect yourselves and know that like the attacks on people they're gonna continue. Okay, it's only gonna get worse. But there are countries that are taking steps towards us fucking surviving. Yeah, they want the reason that they keep your wages low is so you can't buy a gun and defend yourself and do something and be a revolutionary, right? Although I would argue that doing it with violence is not the way. Remember, one of the reasons that you'll never catch me saying I'm a communist, which again is a stepchild of socialism, so it's really just the angry people. Um, Communists have a different mission, and their mission is trickle down economics. And there's a reason that I'm not a party to that, is because I don't think taking power by force and equally distributing the wealth is plausible. So, communism's dumb. I think it makes a lot more sense to advocate for things that are possible, that are possible. It's possible that we could all have universal health care. There are already colleges that are making education not only affordable but free. Whole states are giving their people universal health care, and housing is being made more affordable. Hmm? I think it should go even further. I think we should eliminate most taxes, most of the interest you pay, and we should cap your rent. Hmm? Yep. And if you decide to go to school, it should not it should not negatively impact your life for the rest of your life. It should not be something you have been struck with. That's one of the things that keeps me from going back to school is that I have so much in student loans that it's just like this is stupid. Unless I become a teacher, it's not even worth it. Here's good news. The UK is preparing to recognize the Palestinian state as early as Friday. Yeah, be wary of supporting people that are constantly trying to divide. When they talk about the left or the right, right? Remember, most people do not call themselves Democrat or Republican. Remember that within 90 days of the 2024 US election, a social media firm did an audit of Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all those people on the right of their social media followings and found that 90% of their following is bought and bots. So know that, and keep in mind, it's the Republicans. They're the ones that would absolutely buy their followers. Uh-huh. They're so much less popular than they think they are, and there's so much less of them than there are of us in reality. Have a good day, back. Yeah, we just wanted the billionaires to pay their fair share in taxes, and they decided that we should all die instead. Full stop. Like, that's exactly what the fuck happened. Is we said, but you should pay your fair share. You make way more money than us, and they said you should all die so that I can keep a few more dollars. Hmm. Hmm. Remember, what's his name? Peter Thiel was asked in an interview to his face if he thought human beings should survive, and he could not answer yes. New York City public advocate Jermaine Williams was arrested Thursday along with dozens of demonstrators during an anti ICE protest outside 26 Federal Plaza. Money is the root of all evil. Corrupts everything it touches. Apparently, we can't have anything. 32 kids and teachers were hospitalized after a pepper spray incident at a Florida high school. What is happening? Yo, so in Seattle, there's like a split bridge, and this car just straight up like jumped over the bridge while it was split open. It's crazy. And obviously, that former pain in the neck CEO of Turning Point's wife gleefully stepped into Cougar's spot. That is a Top Gun reference. Oh, so who killed three police officers? in Pennsylvania? Do you want to take a guess? Anybody got any ideas? A suspected stalker armed with a rifle hid inside his ex-girlfriend's home in the rolling farmland of southern Pennsylvania and ambushed police officers who came to arrest him, killing three of them in a shootout. Two officers were seriously wounded before police shot the suspect to death in a hail of gunfire that capped a 15-hour ordeal after a trail camera captured an image of the suspect armed with an AR-styled rifle peering through a scope in the house Tuesday night. How the shooting unfolded. The ex-girlfriend and her mother called the police and then fled the house for their safety after officers dispatched Tuesday night were unable to find him there. Police couldn't find him at his own home, so they arrived back at the house Wednesday afternoon using a drone. 6 officers scoured the property, including farm buildings, before they noticed the door to the home was unlocked. Damn, he left the door unlocked. 24-year-old Matthew James Ruth. Now, what they don't show you is what the shooter looked like. And so that's what I want to continue to point out. When it's, what did they say that guy's name was? Matthew James Ruth. I'm willing to bet you it's white boy. Amazon spends $1 billion to increase pay and lower healthcare costs for U.S. workers. Yeah, he's 24. You're feeling hot, hot, hot. I don't believe this. I don't believe you. So just know if it's potentially a race motivated murder, the feds will get involved. So in terms of Trey Reed, you know why I don't think I guess this is about as close to a racial thing I'll ever say. Black people don't kill themselves. It's not really a thing. So when you try to tell me like a black man hung himself, I'm gonna tell you like I got black first cousins, I got black best friends. Suicide doesn't isn't really a factor in the black community as much as it is in white community. White people are way more likely to kill themselves. Mm-hmm. And yes, suicides are increasing among the black community. Hmm. Hmm. So suicides on the whole are on the way up. Here's some CDC risk. Jesus Christ. Here's here and in case you needed to figure out if I was telling you the truth or not, here's information from the CDC. Okay? And if you scroll down and what you'll see, okay? Let's go to 2021, okay? In the American Indian or Alaska Native community, 692 in 2021 suicides. For the Asian community, 1,379. These are all from 2021. This is from the CDC. This is talking about suicide, okay? Black or African community, 3,692. Hispanic or Latino, 4,907. Okay? Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 82. White people, 36,681. Multiracial, 631. Suicide, almost entirely a fucking white problem and is not nearly as pervasive in other ethnic communities. Your boy has been in college for 30 fucking years and is a data analyst by training. One of the things that I'm able to do is remember suicide is a white problem. And don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. I would venture to say 80% of the suicides are committed by white people. Hmm? So when you tell me that a black boy hung himself, I don't believe you. Prove it otherwise. Just saying that there were no bruises or broken bones, that doesn't prove that he did it himself. Keep in mind, when you watch a fight and you watch somebody get knocked clean out, they're not getting hit in the nose. They're not getting hit up here. They're getting hit in the jaw. There's basically a nerve that goes in your mouth. When you get hit real hard in the jaw, it'll knock you clean out. You wouldn't have any markings, for example, if you just got left hooked and knocked out. If they were unconscious, there would be no need to mark the body. So, when you try to jam suicide and it doesn't fit the bill, you lost me. And again, anytime they think that there's a race involved at all the information gets shipped off to the FBI. So I want to consider, yeah, I want to make sure you consider that there have been no determinations made that finalize that young man's death as a suicide. That police station, corrupt as fuck. That coroner, corrupt as fuck. Again, you can't get it past me that just because there were no broken bones or bruises that it was he did it him fucking self. Okay, I'm gonna left hook you and knock you the fuck out, which does not leave any marks, and then I'm gonna hang you. What could you have done about it? You were fucking unconscious. You can't struggle when you're not conscious. There would be no markings on his body from him fucking struggling if he's straight up unconscious. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't require poisoning. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And all of this is in retaliation for that pain in the neck former CEO of Turning Point for their death. The war on the left. Mm-hmm. Remember that as every mass shooting, every public murder. Just remember that. All for Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. And not for Donald Trump at all. But that's what they're afraid of. It's, for the record, there's a reason If you think what has happened in the wake of Charlie Kirk's untimely death, wait, well, not wait until. Imagine if that was Donald Trump. Some 55 and ups are gonna Bonnie and Clyde some shit if that motherfucker gets shot up. Okay, so you gotta let him just die. It's gotta let him die. And apparently, and this ain't me saying it. This is just the universe saying it. Apparently, he ain't long for this world anyway. So I for one, will not forget that Donald J. Trump let Charlie Kirk die. Hmm? That's how I feel about this situation. Is that man had no friends left when it all came down to it. He would sacrifice you all. And he did not just it's not just apparent to me. When you look at his behavior, what has he actually done? Enrich himself at the expense of even his closest fucking friends and allies. To the point of his ex-wife dying, his fucking, you know what I'm saying? His ex-wife died, his best friend died. He let Ghislaine Maxwell go to prison. And don't get it twisted. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell belonged in fucking prison. They usually don't put you in prison if you're a white person unless you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, nod, nod. That's kind of how it works. Um, and Donald Trump would literally sacrifice. I mean, think about it. I've been saying it. You haven't seen his kids. I get it. His Don Jr.'s helping drone companies now, but I'm saying like you haven't seen his kids come out and talk a lot publicly since you've seen all of them victims, and that's because now his children know them people from when they was kids, and I'm telling you, Donald Trump's kids met Donald Trump's victims before they were Donald Trump's victims. And that's why you ain't seeing them talk a lot in public. Cause imagine trying to go in public and you know those people are fucking alive and they're out there. Mm-hmm. Yep. And just know, I don't think that you'll see like the same level of violence on the left, right? It was infuriating is others with ill intent totally have the green light to do evil shit, knowing no investigation will be done to get away with it. For now. So in the next, it's just like Slawwell said. When it comes to violent crime, there's no statute of limitations. Democrats will have a majority in less than a year. Hang on to your documentation. It's that easy. Just know they are promising to right the ship. Mhm. And again, I looking at the data, Democrats overperforming in 38 of 40 special elections since the 2024 U.S. election tells me Democrats are just going to be way better at campaigning and messaging and winning fucking elections and getting people out to vote. And they're gonna win. A lot of them. Because the thing about it is, there aren't superstars on the right. That's that's the problem with Donald Trump. Is that once you peel that initial layer back, once you get past Donald Trump, dude, JD Vance isn't even on his level. They're not even close. Not even fucking close. Cash Patel, worthless. That Cash Patel is this close to losing his job. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Evelyn, here's what I've said about the man with the dead hand for the longest time. Okay, If you could get past the fact that he was known for being a racist landlord and for not paying his contracted labor. So, if you were okay voting for someone who did not pay their labor and was known for being a racist landlord, you had to get past that first. And then know that in the 80s, so I don't have all of Donald Trump's life memorized, so you'll have to forgive me. I stop at the big shit. Okay? In the 80s, Donald Trump spent $250,000 putting ads up in 5 newspapers in New York accusing falsely 5 black boys of murder and rape. Okay? All them boys did time in prison, like 7 plus years, for a crime they didn't commit. Donald Trump did that. People voted for that en masse. Not to mention, over the course of Donald Trump's life, he was credibly accused of sexual assault on minors. And again, I want to make sure I say, not just girls. Not just girls. Donald Trump raped little boys too. Now, I'm not here to say what's more heinous. Good to go. Equally as awful. But then you have to think about the fact that everything that man touched is a abject failure. His casinos went out of business. And if you grew up and you were enamored with Donald Trump and you ever went to one of his casinos, that had to go away. I went to his casinos and they were the shithole. They were the places you don't. I'm not staying here. I've never stayed a night in a Trump Hotel casino. I've played poker at their casinos, but I would never get a room because people will tell you in the casino, roaches. Nope. And you go ask how much is a room, and they try to tell you it's like $265 a night for a regular room, and you're like, the fuck? What? Yeah. Okay. So if you had to get past everything he touched turned to shit, all the horrible shit he had done and been accused of, and then you had to watch him bare minimum, bare minimum, debate stage 2016, standing next to Hillary, asking for the help of Russia. So in my eyes, there's absolutely no redeeming thing that Donald Trump's done his entire fucking life that would ever make me cast a vote in his direction. There isn't a thing that he's ever done that's good. He sold his own name. You know that, right? Like Trump, that name, he sold that. That's like almost wholly owned by like the Chinese. I'm pretty positive. So I mean, obviously we've gotten over it. Or obviously it impacted this group of people enough to like not. I'm not voting for him, right? But so many people voted for him the first time because he's a businessman, and they thought that this country should be run like a business. And it sucked. And then Joe Biden won, and he righted the ship, and he had us going in a good direction. And the thing about Donald J. Trump is that this time around, it's like his orders are to destroy the country, not just enrich himself. And I want to continue to, um, right? He was never a good person. He's never been a good person. He cheated his way through college. That's what pisses me off because I would never cheat. That's why I don't have a bachelor's degree and I'm 42 and I've been in college 3 times. Is because I'm not a cheater. I'm also not going to put myself through something I'm not putting on a wall, right? part of me really lost heart to continue at Purdue. Not only was the AI just too invasive, but I think they fired people. They had people fired from the Purdue Exponent for their words regarding the 2024 U.S. election. They were shutting down protests on campus, and it was going to cost another 50K to get a degree. And I was just like, you know, you know. A lot of rap songs have reference to him. Yep. You know who I love that hated Donald Trump? I'm pretty sure. Oh man, I'm wrong. No, I'm not. Nipsey Hussle said fuck Donald Trump. R.I.P. Nipsey. Anyway, won't sell one to your clients. Sell one what? Seth Meyers vows to keep exposing Donald Trump, so you can tell he's gonna get his shit canned. Talking Points memo talking about how Republicans killed an attempt to subpoena the FCC chair after the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. So again, they're delaying legal action, but that's Donald Trump's whole shtick. Was that Donald Trump knew that he could do whatever he wants, and all he's got to do is delay, and the other person's poorer than him and can't afford to continue to delay their lawsuit, and they have to give up. That's Donald Trump's whole life tactic. Has been, I have more money, so you could sue me, but I'm just going to drag it out, and then eventually you won't have the money to continue, and I'll still have money. That's his whole attitude: is delay. Oh yeah, yep. Department of Homeland Security has detained New York City Democratic members. Um, this is the shit that's scary. Okay, did you watch Jon Stewart's last night? I didn't. I took kind of the day off to just be with my wife. With everything going on, she came home from work, was like, couldn't even be at work today, and I was like, you want me to take off work? She's like, yeah. Like, okay. Lawyers report disappearance of hundreds of alligator Alcatraz detainees from the ICE database. About 800 detainees no longer appeared in the database. Another 450 were listed with no location. So I think they're fudging the numbers, and also I think that a lot more people have died in ICE custody than they're willing to admit. Hey, again, I'm not I'm not like pro violence, pro gun. I'm not pro police state. I'm not pro prison. None of that shit. But one of the things that many people have told me in my lifetime that have been in the penal system, that have been in jail or have been in prison, hey, there are people that have only ever had 3 meals a day in prison. There are people that have never had mental health counseling available and trauma counseling available to them until they were locked the fuck up. So there are a lot of people that never developed into like an adult until after they committed a heinous crime and were locked up in prison. And I'm a big fan of recidivism. Wait, is recidivism the bad thing or the good thing? No. Uh, I think reintegrating criminals, uh, because everybody is basically a criminal. In my eyes, all crimes are equal. In my eyes, if you are a fucking irresponsible driver, judge not let you be judged first. You are a fucking terrible driver that you're gonna get yourself or someone else killed. You should not be speaking on. You know what I mean? You can't be a proponent of law and order if you're constantly breaking a fucking law, right? I wonder how many construction workers they picked up outside of Home Depot and shipped them to Israel. I think that's going to happen. Hiya. Hey, Albie. Don't blame me. I took a nap from 10 to 3:30 yesterday just to wake up tired today. Shit is thick. Yeah. My wife and I, we were watching the Fever game. By the way, my wife and I watched the WNBA playoffs last night, and then we switched over to the Bills game, and it wasn't a game for a while. Then it was a game, so I fell asleep. We fell asleep in a big dog pile on the couch at probably like 8 o'clock. Woke up at like 11 last night. We're like, shit, we gotta go to bed. So Bob and Al on the same day is gonna be a good day. Yeah, the fellows are here. But yeah, the make sure the energy and theme for the day is uh, Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie Kirk with a 30-06 from 250 meters. It would have blown his fucking head off. Closed casket type shit. There's a video comment I got on the video I posted today where they show you what happens when you shoot a 30-06 at uh, uh, um, like a demo head, like one of those gelatin skulls. Hmm. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's the most important message that I have is you got to get 8 hours of sleep a night. You probably need to take a nap. Science says we need more, like 9 hours of sleep a day to fully perform. Now, if you simply cannot get 8 or 9 hours of sleep, I actually scientifically found out what you could do to overcome a lack of sleep. Creatine. The recommended dosage is like 10 grams, milligrams, I think. But if you take like 25 milligrams of creatine, it'll negate the negative effects of a loss of sleep. Hmm. So if you get less than 8 hours of sleep, science says you could take a 2.5 times the dose a normal daily dose of creatine, 25 milligrams. Hmm. You're welcome. It's cheaper than it's better than taking like ibuprofen, Tylenol, chugging water, shit like that. Try to undo the negative effects of a lack of sleep. But yeah, don't put it past this administration to be sucking at hiding the bodies. The U.S. vetoed the UN Security Council resolution demanding immediate Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. Donald Trump's administration, yeah, caffeine's actually not like, look, I'm a daily caffeine, I take it in every day, but I actively look to get away from it because I know that it's not good for your performance at your job to be caffeined up. It's not good. Mm-mm. Hollywood Reporter talking about how David Letterman says, right? I don't put nothing past Stephen Miller. Nope. David Letterman reacts to Kimmel's suspension by ABC, calls Trump an authoritarian criminal. Remember, boycott Disney, ABC. This means ESPN as well. You're welcome. Creatine's great. I recommend bulk supplements. Nobody asked. I don't work for them. I don't get paid by them. But what you can do, I don't know that I have like a code or anything, but this is where I get my stuff. Yeah, bulksupplements.com. Okay. Speaking of designating people as terrorist threats, here's an interesting little Stephen A. No, she's talking about Stephen Miller. Oh, the ACLU responded. So, what do you think? What do you associate the ACLU with? Yeah. See, I actually think the best thing that you could be putting in your body in the morning is you wake up, you put your protein, your creatine, and you need some fruit. Um, I like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries for flavor. And then now I use honey, but that's because I like the sweet taste of honey. There are a lot of people that can't do that, and you're going to end up switching out your honey for some kind of sugar substitute. But know that your protein, your creatine, your fruit, uh, honey, you need some flaxseed because if you're just eating like protein powder and fucking fruit, you're just gonna tear up your belly. You need flaxseed and then ice, and then your call if you want to do water or you want to do milk. And I would again as I get older, I would recommend you get away from milk and go to like a milk alternative, like a almond milk or something. Now you do almond milk. Almond milk is a little sweeter, so you might not actually need honey in that same thing, but you can blend all that together and it'll be amazing. Hmm. Yeah, you could blend all my ingredients together. Handful of berries, your protein, your creatine, flaxseed, some honey. Hmm. Blend that all up into a shake and drink it first thing when you get out of bed. It's the best thing you can put in your hole. I over the age of 40, still playing football. In 6 months, I lost 75 pounds and went from like Tubby McTubberson to like traveling to try out to play quarterback for multiple semi-pro teams. Hmm? Like getting paid to go try out somewhere. Hmm? So if my old ass can lose 75 pounds, uh, and I can point to this is what I did. Mhm. And ultimately, if you can just get away from sugar and bread as like things that you put in, yeah, I went from probably 310 to 235, which is what I weighed on active duty. 20, 16 years after I came home. But yeah. Hmm. Now, went to the gym every morning and lifted weights. And then I was a football coach, so I'd come home and work, and then after work, I'd have to go to practice. And I was on my feet for 2 hours, running around, moving around. So, what are the dinner? Well, my wife and I, since the food costs started to rise, we switched to factor meals. And I eat the high protein factor, which just typically means I get a bigger piece of meat. Um, so my shake in the morning when I first get up, you still got to eat breakfast. I was eating, you know, 3 eggs. You got to understand I'm a big person. So like I was eating like 3 to 6 eggs, bacon for breakfast, with I'm making my mouth water. With avocado slices. For lunch, it would be like turkey, lettuce, tomato, um, light mayo on a a light piece of bread, right? For dinner, you don't eat bread for dinner. Is like a big one. Don't eat bread, and if you're gonna eat dessert midday. Don't eat dessert and then go to bed. That's one of the big things I think people do is like when people go out to dinner and or they go out of town. We have our habits all wrong. Like when you go out to dinner and it's 8 o'clock at night and you get dessert and then you go straight and you go to sleep, you are gonna wear all that. Just letting you know. All that fat, all that nasty shit you just put in your body is going on your belly. So what we got to get in the habit of doing is the calories that we take in. You want to get those into your system before you need them. That's the thought process. So like by getting up in the morning and the first thing I do is drink that shake, within an hour I'm in the weight room. When you're in the evening, I'm eating after I've done a bunch of shit. Well, I need protein to repair my muscles that I tore up all day. That's a lean piece of meat. Turkey, chicken, steak, it don't matter, right? And I'm a big fan of dress it all the way up, right? If it typically has veggies on it, eat the fucking vegetables. If they're putting some wacky shit on a sandwich, eat it. You need the veggies. And that's the way I've always been. Is like you need the fucking veggies. Like I eat uh now in the morning I do a meal replacement shake that is still high protein from Factor. It's gluten free, high protein. It's like 30 grams of protein, 16 ounces. It tastes like cinnamon horchata, which again, probably not my favorite fucking flavor of daily meal replacement shake, but it is enough of a jolt that like, it's a little different. But yeah, do a meal replacement shake, eat a Factor meal, and then what we gotta get away from is ordering and eating dessert at dinner and then going to bed. Because that's how you get fat. That's how you gain weight. Right there. Is you don't give the nasty food you put in your body time for your body to fucking digest that. Uh-huh. So if you're really gonna eat like a dickhead, do it at lunch. At dinner, it's eat lean or nothing. You know, and that's the problem is that it, we're taking in calories and then we're not actually needing those. You don't need calories to sleep. Mhm. The problem is that we don't want to eat early in the morning. I mean, my wife will tell you. She don't want to drink a shake when she first gets up. A lot of people are that way. They never were the breakfast type. My parents were the breakfast type. Always shoving that shit in your hand. And again, I will never forget. I'm saying the same thing about people I've met that have been through the prison system. But when I was on active duty, I met so many kids, young ass kids, that these kids just got out of high school that were telling me, you know, Malott, this is the first time I've ever eaten 3 full meals a day. So think about it. That's the common thread between people that go to prison and people that join the military. Is these people will have touched their fucking potential because they were being fed 3 meals a day. And outside of literally prison or the military, I would venture to say most adults, specifically men, do not eat 3 meals a day and are not actively taking care of their bodies. Uh huh. 100%. Remember how I tell you we're fucking paper mache? Yeah, is most adults you don't know are not nourished. You know that malnourishment, it's creeping. It's like growing. More and more Americans are more and more unable to feed themselves. They're making us sick. They're making it unsafe. You know, and the markers are more and more people are asking for help with groceries. That is a byproduct of a bunch of people losing SNAP benefits. And here, you know, what is today? The 19th. 30 days has September. So in 11 days, within the next 11 days, a bunch of people are going to get a letter in the mail that their Medicaid status has been revoked. So have a fantastic Friday. Okay. See if there's any late news. Okay. Cereal or ice cream before bed. Yeah, no. Shit, have it when you wake up. At least you're giving your body a chance to get that digested before you have to go to bed. Also, silencing your critics is what children do. Democrats are calling on the FCC chair to resign. Yeah, I'll try. I'll try butter. I want you all to be healthy. So take off of each other and learn. Oh, and like I was talking to my wife about this. There are people that don't want to wake up and go to the gym in the morning. Cool. Wake up and go for a walk. Start hydrating. Get your calories in before and get your ass on the road. Yeah. I walk the dogs every morning when I get up. My wife and I are going to get up in the morning and go walk the fucking dogs. And then we're going to get a gym membership We are doing the thing that we're telling you to do. And I ain't no we. It's not like my wife guides my mouth. But we're doing the thing that I'm telling you. I'm putting up solar panels. I'm growing a fucking garden. Keep your fucking head up. I know. Hey, it was a lot. It's a lot for me too. My wife and I had to take a fucking day and just disconnect and just breathe. And I know y'all can empathize. We did try not to look at my phone. Hmm. But remember, Jimmy Kimmel has Supreme Court precedent on his side. Bosses cave to MAGA. Remember, one of the lessons that you should have from this regime, one of these lessons you should have from this regime is you got to be careful who you work for. You got to know who your boss is. Hmm. Join a union. Join a union. Protest, boycott, and strike. 1 month away, I believe, from the next big protest. Right? October 18th? Am I wrong? The next protest, October 18th. Obviously, there's going to be protests between now and then. Good to go. But you got a whole month. October 18th is a Saturday. .1, indivisible.org, work in America. Get on it. Okay? September 20th, though, is the Make Billionaires Pay. So, hey, tomorrow there's a protest. So, now that I fucked that up, hey, there's a protest tomorrow. It was below the No Kings protest on October 18th. Why wouldn't you have the one that's tomorrow above the one that's a month from now? What am I doing with my hands? I don't. I just work here. Okay. Hey, I like this idea. I think that anybody retired and bored and kind of want to see change happen before you die, here's something you can do. Keep getting asked how to complain about Jimmy Kimmel being suspended. Uh, See if you have a Sinclair or Nexstar station in your area. Watch the local newscast tonight or sometime this week. Note the companies that bought TV advertisements. Call those companies and let them know that you will boycott them until they quit supporting that media company. Trust me, I worked in TV for 45 years. Nothing you do will have greater impact. So, hey, if you need something to fucking do and you know you got Sinclair or Nexstar in your area, hey, watch one of their broadcasts. Write down the companies that are taking out advertisement during that show, call them. Let them know, hey, we're going to boycott your company until you stop supporting this channel. Mm-hmm. Well, this is not what I want to see. Okay? The FBI renews its war on trans people. Okay? Oh, weather. Yeah, you're right. Listen to Eat the Rich while I pull up the weather.
What in God's name is that? Oh my God.
Wake up, kids. It's half past the youth.
All right, let's switch gears and bring you an update on the emigrant fire burning south of Bear Mountain, about 21 miles southeast of Oak Ridge. This fire has grown to 32,371 acres. But
Jesus.
there's good news on the containment front, now at 41%. Fire crews are making progress, using
Big
infrared to
fire.
find hot spots and mop up, especially along the northern and western perimeters. They're also strengthening control lines on the eastern and southern sides. The good news for residents
Weather
is that there
intensity
are
score is
currently
pretty
no
high,
active
so
evacuation orders or warnings in place for the emigrant
shout
fire.
out Haya for, hey,
Otherwise,
check out the weather.
westerly winds are expected to continue, bringing cooler temperatures and a slight chance of precipitation this weekend.
I gotta get him to scroll out on the U.S.
Area closures are still in effect for parts of the Willamette and Umpqua National Forests. Stay safe, everyone.
Bang. All right. So again, if you live in the western part of the United States, your shit's on fire. California has got some weather. There is a major storm southeast Oklahoma, probably hitting our western, central, and southern Arkansas. There is a storm system in northeast Arkansas. I'm guessing traveling east, probably hitting um, southwest Kentucky, northwest Tennessee. There is a major storm, probably the biggest storm in the United States, in the north central part of the country. So the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, all have a big green. So here, look, I'll show you. Hold on. See that shit? Look at that shit. Big ass storm. Okay. Now up here, I think these are freeze warnings. Um, it's getting cold in the northeast part of the country, which is part of the northeast. It's gonna get cold. The bright blue in the western part of the country are some flood warning. But yeah, on the whole, if you live in the northwest, your shit's on fire. If you live in the central plains, it's wet. In the northeast, it's freezing. So it is. In the United States, we do get all four seasons, just not in the same place. So, and I think for part of the country, we're going to have to call one of the seasons fire. I'm just pointing this out. We should call one of them fire, one of them water. Know what I mean? One ice, fire, water, ice, and wind. Yeah. So hey, keep your head on a swivel. Weather's kind of wild today. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves.